Serenity now. Okay, guys, so today's been one of those days where nothing has gone according to plan. So I was driving on my way over here, and my damn truck ran out of gas on the freeway. So there I am like an idiot, stalling and piling up cars behind me. And then after 30 minutes, a kind gentleman took pity on this fool and gave me a ride to the store so I can get a gas tank and come back and fill it up. And yeah, we're on our way. And then I get here, and I'm solo. Cuervo's not here with me today. And the current tripod that I use, the little head that holds the phone, I lost it somewhere between my truck and here, which is a quarter mile of bushes and creosote. So good luck finding that. And so luckily I had my spare broken tripod in the truck, so I went back to the tripod and was able to use another one. And then now that I'm filming, I recently got a new phone, so I needed to get a new microphone, a wireless Bluetooth one. And I can't not get that thing to work. I cannot get that thing to pair up. I am stupid when it comes to technology and tech stuff. That's Cuervo's domain, and screw it. I gave up. So we're going without the mic. So if this video sounds like crap, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just, I'm going to be sitting here all night trying to get that thing to work. So it's just one of those days, to quote the wise poet Fred Durst. Anyway, let's have some fun. I'm going to pull a Chris Tanner today and have a simple, easy video talking about knives. So you all know that I've generally moved away from knife reviews for the most part. I'll still dabble in maybe 2 or 3 a year, but it's not like the early days when we would do at least one a month, right? But you got to know your audience, know what your audience responds to, and you guys really enjoy knives, and for good reason. Knives are cool. So this year I did decide to start stocking up on knives and getting some knives from makers, or at least borrowing some, so I can put them to the test, show them in action, gutting game, making fires, all that good stuff. So I do have a handful of knives here that I'm excited to show you guys and tell you what I have planned with them. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. So starting off with the first one, now you have seen this one since about December. I have already started testing this one a couple of months back, and so far I'm very much enjoying it. This is the Bear Forest Knives Pickens Game Knife. USA made, high carbon steel blade with natural canvas micarta scales. Very comfortable, lightweight, and as you can tell, this is meant to be a skinner. This is, if you went hunting for a hog or a white-tailed deer, something like that, this is gonna be helpful caping off the hides and, all that good stuff. So it isn't necessarily a bushcraft knife, but it is a good hunting knife. I would even say it's an EDC, a great EDC knife. I've been using this, and I've cut, cardboard and stuff like that. Yesterday I went fishing and I used this to gut a bluegill and scale it. Is this designed for that, like a bird and trout knife? Not necessarily, but at the same time, it's not an absolute pain to use either. So it works for that. I am planning to test this one first, so you'll see a review of this one in about 3 months, as well as its sibling, the Bear Forest Knives Simple, which is a very small Puco-style knife. Cuervo Negro has that one. Once again, Cuervo Negro is not here with me today, so we are planning to test those out pretty much back to back pretty soon. I would like to go bullfrog hunting and then put them both to the test, making a fire and all that good stuff, showing these, in action. And once again, you've seen this one in at least one camping video before. And like I said, I took it fishing with me yesterday. Also love this sheath, this Kydex sheath with the cross draw loop right here. Very nice, very beautiful. So once again, Bear Forest Knives. And I'll have the links to all the makers down below if you're so inclined to check out their work, like on Instagram or their websites. Once again, an absolute beauty. Really loving this one. So stay tuned for that. Now next is going to be a knife that I love this blade, but I sadly sold it a few years ago. So this is a knife that really didn't get enough attention or enough love on my channel when I had it, even though it definitely deserved it. And then I stopped using it, and then I sold it when I was short on a couple of bucks one time. And as soon as I sold it, I regretted it. And I've always wanted to get one back ever since. And recently, my buddy George Vasquez was selling his. It was in excellent condition for a great deal. I couldn't pass it up. So I ended up buying, once again, the LT Wright Genesis in a flat grind. I love this blade. Super awesome, simple blade, but very sturdy. I love the edge retention. I even love the look. So it's my favorite Kephart of all Kepharts out there. It's a Kephart inspired design. And I mean, this thing, it's just an outstanding blade. This one's a very traditional bushcraft, but I would say also camping, because it doesn't have the Scandi version that a lot of people really like. I've always generally gravitated towards flat grinds because I tend to do a lot more cooking and skinning and that kind of stuff. So this flat grind works for me. Plus it's a little bit more accurate, closer and accurate to Kephart's original intent. So great blade. A2 steel, broomstick canvas micarta handles right here. Absolute awesome blade. Now, what I have planned for this one, let me know. I'll let you guys vote on what you would like to see. I either make an official review on this blade, and you know the deal, how we do it: make fire, process game, cook up some dinner out in the field, or have a free-for-all shootout on the best Kephart knife designs out there. So for example, here I have two other Kephart style spear point type blades that I own. This is the Condor Kephart knife, one of my oldest first knives in my collection. I gotta say, it's pretty much retired outside of, you know, being my steak knife at home. And then here I have the Green River Dadley, another spear point that actually predates the Kephart design. But as you can tell, there's not a doubt in my mind that Kephart was inspired by this design at some point, and then he modified it to make it his. So we have these three right here. And then I'm sure I can pull a couple of strings with some buddies of mine and borrow their other Kepharts, like maybe a Bark River Kephart, maybe there's another brand, Brisa, I believe they're called. I'll annotate it down below, but my buddy Stephen Fowler has one, and it's a very nice Kephart. And then, of course, there's the Becker BK62 that I reviewed maybe 2 years ago. That was pretty good. I thought it was okay. I didn't think, to be completely honest, if I had to choose that BK62 versus the Genesis, I would take the Genesis all day. No doubts about it. But I think it might be a cool video idea to kind of switch up the formula and just have this battle free-for-all, Hunger Games style, on all the spear point type, Kephart style type blades, and put them all against, you know, making fire, carving and notching, processing game, camp cooking, all that stuff. So let me know. But once again, I am so glad to have the Genesis back in my collection. Big thanks once again to my buddy George. Now this next knife right here, I have already reviewed on the channel. This is the La Rocca Cumpani blade. Now I didn't review this exact one, but I did review a same model. Check out the review up here in the corner if you're interested in seeing it in action. An absolutely stellar blade, Scandivex grind, 90-degree spine, 1/8 inch thick. Exceptional for bushcraft. It's somewhere in the mix between like a Woodlore and a Kephart style blade. Now, Paul La Rocca, the maker, did inform me that he was no longer going to be making the Cumpanis. He wanted to move on and do different designs, and that's understandable. Being a content creator, you can sometimes feel stifled with doing the same thing over and over. So I totally get it, even though as much as this one's awesome, you know, he has plenty of other great designs. Now, the reason why this one was sent to me recently is because this will be a giveaway. So Paul was kind enough to give me the last one as a gesture of goodwill. This will be given away in our Patreon group sometime in the summer months. So if you're so inclined, be sure to join us over there. And that helps us, you know, funding travels, and especially like videos that involve hunting, because YouTube Big Brother likes to demonetize us when we do those. And, you know, they cost money to travel and get the license and this and that. So, yeah, this will be a future giveaway right here for the Cumpani. And this one's interesting. This one was also given to me as a freebie by my buddy George when I bought the Genesis off of him. And this is a Battle Horse Knives. I'm not certain what this one's called. I had the paper when he delivered to me, but I don't recall what it was called. But this is a very simplistic little blade. I would have to probably go with this being something more like, you know, if you get your kid or your wife, you know, someone with smaller hands, you know, their first nicer blade beyond the more companion, something like that. I could definitely see this working. It almost looks like a baby GNS from LT Wright, you know, with that Coke bottle shaped handles, and then the little Scandi 90-degree spine. So a great blade right here. I may have to get my girl Melissa to put this one to the test. So every time we're going out, I'm trying to teach her a little bit more on the side of bushcraft and stuff like that. And I would very much like to see what she thinks of this blade, and making fire and food prep, and maybe gutting a fish and something like that. I think that would be very nice. And we don't really see a lot of Battle Horse knives on knife channels lately, so it'd be cool to kind of bring one back. And then we got this big boy right here. Oh man, is this one awesome. This is by a maker named Nick Skinner, who I've been following his work for the last couple of years, and my God, this guy makes some ridiculously beautiful historical type Bowies and that kind of stuff. Very, very rustic, very old school. I mean, this thing is hefty. It's most definitely out of my comfort zone from my usual style. I like a very lightweight scalpel type of blade. But, I mean, my buddy David Tom, who's been a longtime viewer of the channel, he offered to send this to me so I can test this out. And I just couldn't say no to it. I could not say no to it. This thing looks awesome. Now, once again, it is, more old school style. Check out this coffin style handle. Full tang. The bolster or the guard. And then look at that big flat grind of a knife right here. I mean, if some Civil War soldier had to fight Predator in a movie, this is the knife he'd use, go at him with it. So really beautiful blade by a maker that doesn't get a lot of attention on YouTube. So I think it's overdue that he gets a little bit of attention. So big shout out to David Ton for having the confidence in sending this out to me. And this will likely be the second blade we test after the Bear Forest knives, just because it's on loan. I don't want to have it all year. As soon as I get this one done, I want to test this one just so I can return it back. And this one's getting me out of my wheelhouse because this is not really a Skinner, although I think it's important to get knives out of their comfort zone. If this was all I had, I would like to see how it handles, gutting a catfish or something like that. So really awesome. It doesn't have a 90-degree spine, so this is definitely not the type of knife that you're going to be striking. Ferro rods, ferro rods were not invented back then, so it's understandable. But really awesome knife. Now let me know, once again, not only with this knife, but all of these, what would you be interested in seeing me do with them in terms of testing? What adventure would you like to see me see in what environment, for example? So that would be pretty awesome. And then, last of all, these aren't technically new knives. I was actually this weekend in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, a favorite place that I like to hang out. And me and my brother were having a couple of beers and stuff. And there was a thrift store, and I've never been to the thrift store in that little town, so I decided to check it out, and I always go look for knives. And I found these old Hickories right here. Check this one out. Look at that beautiful patina. Now, this one's old, but it's not, too worse for wear. I mean, it's still salvageable. I can clean this up, sharpen it up, and I have a nice little steak knife at home right here. Now, this one right here is a little bit more worse for wear. It's a lot more rusted, more used up, but I still think it's possible to restore. And then I have some nice kitchen knives for when I'm having me some steaks or some pork chops. This one has the initials MM on the handle, so that must have been the original owner. And then lastly, I have this Dexter right here. So Dexter is the cutlery that would have eventually bought Green River knives back in the 70s. Right there, you can see Dexter. Look at that. Now, this one does still have an edge. I mean, if I was to just immediately go and use this to slice up some steaks or, some slices of pizza, this thing would work beautifully. Now, with these three, I might just start a little side series of restoring knives. Now, I've never done that, restoring knives on a video and then, putting a new edge, with my whetstones and stuff. Just because I'm very big into the idea that if you don't have nothing new to offer, some new perspective, some new tips and tricks, then there's no sense in making that video because it's redundant. So that's why I've never really made like a sharpening or honing video, because I don't think my methods are all that groundbreaking from what you've seen before. So that's why. But if there's enough demand, once again, you got to know your audience and got to know what they are interested in seeing. And, if you guys are interested, I am, you know, that would be a cool little project that I could do at my house. So I don't have to be driving out here and getting stalled out in the freeway and pushing my truck. I could just do these in the comfort of my own home while having a couple of beers, and we can follow the process together as I try to restore these. And then who knows, once they're nice and restored, maybe we can take them out to the field and maybe do some batoning, do some feather sticking, game processing. So that's about it for me, folks. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up and comment down below. Let's get a conversation going. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions on some testing methods or some places you would like to see these blades in action, so we can start brainstorming and forming those review ideas. And I'll see you guys next week with another video. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.